Alrighty, y'all. Welcome back to the show. I hope you are doing excellent. We are looking at a fun video today, I reckon. All right, we're looking at things Germans do that just make more sense. Couldn't have said it better myself. I think this is pretty straightforward. Let's hear about it. I'm here to learn. Actually, America should be here to learn. Let's take a look. This is from a channel called Haley Alexis, by the way. Looks like an awesome channel. Been suggested a million times by all of you, different videos, but this one's been suggested quite a lot. So make sure to check her out, okay? This will be linked, of course, in the description down below, her channel and all that jazz. So make sure to check her out. Good stuff. All right, let's go.
The first point is going to be the triangle.
The triangle?
And me trying to make a triangle with my hands is not really working out, you guys. And the vest that Germans carry in their car. This is not required in the United States.
Like roadsides.
And I always wonder why.
Stuff.
And so basically you have this little triangle that has reflecting lights or strips on it. And it's for when you get into an accident. I think you go like 200 steps down the road. You put the little triangle down so people are aware that there's an accident ahead, that there might be people walking around, that there might be debris somewhere, there might be oil spilt somewhere, so people just have a warning of, hey, be alert and be aware. And this also goes for the vests that you keep in your car as well. They're usually these orange or yellow vests that you wear in case of an accident. I believe they have reflecting stripes on them as well. And when you're looking at how accidents are handled and how road safety is handled, it's taken like up a notch. I feel like because of the unbegrenzt, you have no speed limit on the Autobahn in some instances. And so you have to be cautious. You have to be careful because accidents can happen. And just on roadways in general, regardless of what speed limit you are driving, accidents happen. And so they're trying their best in Germany to prevent other injuries, other accidents, other things that could be associated with, I have no idea, someone being stuck on the side of the road. So the next one you guys are going to be...
Yeah, so that one's good. That one actually makes sense that, like she said, that they almost have to have that kind of safety and accident prevention in Germany, especially when we're talking about sections of the road, sections of the Autobahn that have no speed limit. Yeah, if you have someone that's doing 150 miles an hour, even if they're driving carefully and they're zoned in and they're doing what they're supposed to, it is a danger to have someone broke down on the side of the road. So I totally get the high visibility jacket or vest and, you know, the safety triangle and cones and whatever else is needed. That is actually really great, and I feel like super essential when we're talking about the Autobahn. But as she also mentioned, which I agree with, any street, even if it's a small street, 30 mile an hour speed limit, being seen on the side of the road is important because you don't want to get hit and have your car totaled. You don't want to get hit and get hurt. And I think these things are essential. These actually do exist. I do carry a safety kit in one of my cars. I should have them in all of my cars, but I don't. But I've always been safety aware like this. I actually have vests as well, like tons of them in my house, but I don't have them with me in the car now that I think about it. I have them from a previous job. I think maybe when it comes to stuff like this, I'm a little more safety aware than maybe the average American, although I'm just claiming that. I don't know that for sure. But yeah, from my knowledge, a lot of people don't have this stuff in their car when they should. Basically, I'm getting that this is more common and people are more aware of this in Germany, and that's a good thing. Americans should jump on that. Get a safety kit for your car. I think it's a good idea.
Something that I found to be extremely funny when I first got to Germany. I mean, now it's pretty normal, but when I first got here and I was driving on the Autobahn, I remember like a Volkswagen Passat or a Skoda Octavia, I think they're called, coming up behind me, and there was a hitch. And on that hitch, they were towing a little camper, a little sleeper. And
that
I was
is
just
different.
Like, what in the world? And they were Richtung Gardasee, wahrscheinlich für der Familienurlaub. And I was like, what the heck is this? A car? A multifunctional family automobile?
Look at this. Look at these cars putting in work, towing. Wow. You know, whenever you buy a vehicle here, even if it is a small car, like tow ratings are a thing. They're displayed for any car, regardless of size. But yeah, I'll be honest with you. Nobody tows with cars in the U.S. There might be a few. I've never really seen it. Everyone tows with trucks, right? You get a big truck, you get a big camper, you get a bbig trailer, whatever the deal is. If you have a business or recreation for towing, then you get in a truck. You're not going to be towing with a Volkswagen Jetta or, a Ford Taurus or something. It's just not going to happen. That is different.
A camper behind them? In the United States, we do not do this. Like the association of towing does not relate to family vehicles
Right.
or sedans or four-door compact hatchback station wagon vehicles. It just does not happen. You usually have a truck,
Yeah.
a big old working van.
Yeah, this is much more accurate. And to be fair, even if I'm nitpicking, the minivan towing, that's rare. It can be done, but that's even more rare. But yeah, the truck, like a Gladiator is very light duty truck, but you will see it towing. But yeah, most of the time it's going to be a big Ram, a big GMC, a Chevy, a big Ford F-250 or whatever, maybe a bigger SUV like this Jeep that probably has a V8 or it could have a diesel in it as well. Yeah, that's
or an
about
SUV
it.
because you need the Super Duty King Ranch
Right.
limited edition 4x4 lifted 2730 rims with you need all the
It's accurate. She's
you
right.
need all of these things to be able to tow. And it's just not even in the back of Americans' minds or even at the front of Americans' minds to tow something with their tiny Toyota Corolla. But I
No,
think this makes sense
it's not
because it
happening.
allows you to do a lot more with your vehicle. The practicality of your vehicle in Germany, I feel like you get a lot more use out of your vehicle than you do in the United States.
Not to say that Germans drive more than Americans, but I do think that Germans find interesting ways to turn their regular cars into multifunctional tools. Yeah, I can totally see that in a lot of countries outside of the U.S., quite frankly. I think maybe our culture is the weird one. We're the odd man out on that. Maybe us and Mexico, Canada. I think part of this also has to do with, now I'm assuming here, so please correct me in the comments. I wonder if the average person, which is hard to say an average person, right? But the average person in Germany maybe only has one vehicle, maybe they have two vehicles, whereas the average American household, I don't have figures for this, but just on people I know, most people have tons of cars. I am not ashamed to admit, I'm a car guy, so it's kind of the deal. Plus, my cars are all cheap. Don't think I'm super rich over here with Lamborghinis everywhere. But I do have 8 or 9 vehicles. I don't know, I lose track. I would guess that's probably not common in most of Europe. But most families here in America do have, 2 or 3, sometimes even 4. And I think that plays into it. Like they might have a small commuter car and then a bigger family car. And maybe they use that bigger family car. What I mean by that is maybe like a Chevy Suburban or a Tahoe, and they use that to tow or whatever. Or maybe they have a smaller SUV for a family car. And then when they want to go on a vacation or whatever, they take their big truck that they really only use for work and they tow with that, right? But I think that might play a part into it. I don't know. My question to you guys are, if you're watching this from Germany or somewhere else around Europe, is it normal to have a lot of cars at each household, or maybe is it more normal to only have one car, maybe 2 cars? And I think if that's the case, where the average household or the average person has less cars, then if they only have one car, they're going to have to kind of use it in a lot of different functions, and therefore just is a lot different than here in America, where people just tend to have more cars.
So the next point, you guys, is going to be hard for me to explain it to you guys, but I hope you understand where I'm coming from, and it's going to be the general speed limits in specific areas here. I find this to be a really cool concept. I feel like it makes sense. At first, I really thought it was very confusing. I still find it to be very confusing because I don't drive that often, but I feel like if I did, it would be a lot easier than in the United States. In Germany, I feel like you drive based on general signs and a general base understanding of these are the rules and this is what happens. And these rules are usually on signs that have specific symbols.
Look at that. That is cool. Okay, so these are similar but different, right? A lot of these I recognize. I can make out what they mean. Of course, the stop sign, the good old stop sign, looks the same. And these are quite different from what I'm used to. Really cool seeing that stuff. I'm a nerd for stuff like this. I like seeing different signs and stuff like that.
Numbers, or pictures on them. And so for general speed limits, I think when you're driving into a yellow sign that has a city or a district name on it, I think you have to either go 50 or 30.
Okay.
I don't know which one it is, you guys. I know that it's lower though. And then once you drive out of that city or district, there'll be another little sign with a line through it, which means you are leaving now. And then you can speed up, usually to around 100 kilometers per hour. I could be wrong, like I said, and I might correct myself if I am wrong. And if you drive into a city, like a main city, I think it's either 30 or 50 as well. And then when you get into the Autobahn, they have signs that have, lines through them. That means you can go as fast as you want. But generally speaking, lane,
Gotcha.
you drive like 100 or 120, and then if there's a sign that says 80, you slow down. But it's like, you just know these things. You don't really need the signs. Like some signs advise you what to do,
Right.
but it's not based, like, I don't know how to explain it to you guys. Like I feel like Germans know what I'm talking about, but
Okay.
Americans won't know, because when you're in the United States, it's like 45 here, 35 here,
Yeah.
50 here, 65.
I feel like maybe I'm not totally understanding what she's saying, but I feel like she's hinting at that in Germany, of course, you still have well thought out signs, and you do have signs in areas where you'd probably need help making sure everything's good and you're being safe. I think she's saying that most Germans probably take driving more seriously. I know their license is a lot more expensive to get, and I think more, harsher tests and such, maybe a longer time to get it. Whereas here in America, it's really cheap. It's like $20 and they hand it to almost anyone. So I feel like people take it more seriously, and they probably know just what to do in different areas when they come into towns, when they go on back country roads, when they go on Autobahn. And so maybe you're going to see less signage. Whereas here in the U.S., as she's showing, there's signs plastered everywhere. It is like sign overload. And if you see this crazy mess down here, this behemoth of like a million signs, that does happen. It actually confuses Americans. So like signs can be a good thing, but then like over signage can be kind of like a bad thing, like too much, and can be distracting almost. So I think that's what she's saying.
70 there, and it's constantly changing, and you don't know. You have no clear understanding.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention that in the USA, if you miss a sign, you basically have no idea how fast you are allowed to drive. That's a good point. In Germany, you can use your surroundings and have a general overview of correct speed limit to use. For example, in Germany, if you were in the city, basically, regardless of seeing the sign or not, you can drive 30 or 50 kilometers per hour and nothing really in between. In the USA, it could be anywhere from 20 to 45, and that's true. See, it's just different based on different towns, different cities, different states. They're all different. They're all governed different. They all have different speed limits. All the highways have different speed limits. You can be on Interstate 10, which runs across the whole U.S., but each state line you cross, that same Interstate 10 can be different speed limits. Some states it might be 70, some states it might be 75, some states it might be 60. It's like all over the place. And then different towns. Some towns are 20, some towns are 30, some towns are 35, some towns are 45, even on small streets. It's all over the place. So I totally get what she's saying there.
Understanding of how fast do I drive here, or how fast am I allowed to drive here. It's ever changing. So the next point is going to be fund, you guys. And this is something that I've talked about all the time on my channel, but I feel like in 2022, they implemented a new rule / law / legislation, regulation. And it is that I think every plastic container up to 3 liters has to have fund on it. Or it might be every container, but I'm pretty sure it's every plastic container. When you buy something, you pay a deposit on it, and you get that deposit back when you return the bottle. And the reason I think this is such a good idea is because I think maybe it would help.
We totally have this in the U.S. I've done it myself, although I don't do it consistently. I wouldn't say I do it all the time. So maybe that's a thing. It should be more of a thing here. You have that incentive even to go recycle or to go turn your bottles in and get, some change back. A lot of Americans don't do this.
Help people in the United States take a second look at how much they are consuming, and it would actually make the plastic end up in the right spot. I feel like littering is a big thing everywhere in the world. I've seen it happen in Germany. I've seen it happen in the United States.
Yeah, littering's horrible.
But
I hate
feel like in the United States, we are so, so removed from how much we consume because it's just so normalized, and we have no real consequences for what we do.
Yeah,
in Germany,
it's a good point. Yeah, this is a good point she writes here too. I think, this one's always bothered me. And again, the U.S. is so big, like it just varies in different, not even different states, like different towns, different cities. I've seen places that maybe for U.S. standards are pretty good. Like there is a big recycling culture and people are aware of waste and stuff. And then I've seen other towns that they couldn't care less. It's just not even a thing. And it's like, well, whatever, And that's a problem. Like that's always bothered me. Just because I feel like recycling and putting things in the right places and not littering and not wasting things to the max is just so, I feel like it's so easy to do. but people don't do it, right? People don't put in effort. And it's like, dude, that sucks. Like, come on, we can do better than that. I feel like in the US, there is decent effort to be aware and recycling culture to be a thing. It seems like most people just don't pay attention.
To pay, or I pay 25 cents, and you may be thinking, oh, it's only 25 cents, but that 25 cents adds up.
Yeah.
If you were to take all of the fund that I have collected since living in Germany, we would probably have like hundreds or thousands of euros that I have spent and like recollected for my plastic bottles, and that is a lot of money. And this is why I think it's a very good idea, because it makes people reevaluate how much they consume. The next one is going to be a little bit controversial, and there are some con aspects that I might make a video tailored to regarding this in the future, but I want to talk about the positive aspects of this point, and it is splitting kids up to go to different types of schools. Now, like I said, this is not a perfect system. It has its flaws. There have been studies about this. People have made videos about this, talking about the flaws of this system. But I do like the general idea that children can go to different levels of school or different pathways for education in Germany. There are 3 different options, I believe, that
let me see this here. Yeah, I agree that this could be handled a lot of different ways, and this would foster up a lot of different opinions. I feel like it's a little over my head right now, just because, I went to school a long time ago, and my kids are not ready for school yet, so I'm just kind of in the middle there. Also seeing like grade 11 and 12, you could already be in vocational training schools, maybe a dual system, and then you could already be in advanced technical college right after that. This chart over here is also really interesting, the school system in Germany. Wow.
German children can take, and they're split up at an early age. They get pushed into those schools. Now, I will talk a little bit about the flaws, you guys, because I just can't not talk about this point. I do feel like it happens maybe too young.
Yeah.
And sometimes kids are pushed to do stuff based on their economic or social standing.
Yeah,
and
I can see
maybe
that.
not based on their merit or their grades or their success level. But I do think if this was maybe worked on a little bit, and maybe a little bit more time and effort and resources were put into this system and making it, just a more functional system, then I would say it is a perfect system, because I've said this many times before, not everyone is made for the traditional school route. Not everyone is made to go to high school, to go to college, to go to university, to get their master's and work as a CEO at this company, or work as a marketing manager, or doing all these things. Some people like construction. Some people like working on cars. Some people like working as teachers. Some people like working as models. Some people like working as photographers. And so I do think that this could be a very encompassing school system, but it just needs to work out its tweaks. So the next point, you guys, is going to be something that I already talked about, and I think it's pretty funny, and I think it's an interesting point because so many people were confused about it when I talked about it in my previous video, and it is that you can pay for your gas after you pump. I'm trying to think if that's the right way to word it. So in the United States, you usually pay beforehand, meaning you put your credit card, debit card in the little...
Whoa, look at that gas pump. It's a little different. Kind of fancy looking. I don't know. It's just like different, right? Yeah, this is totally what American gas pumps look like. Whether it's any company, any state, they all look like this. Just different colors, that's about it. And then, of course, you have your octane choice right here. And then your diesel's always green, which some people still fail to recognize. I noticed over here it is quite different. So if I was, let's say, pulling up my second I arrive in Germany and I have a rental car, I would have to just give this a look to make sure I know what I'm doing, just because it is quite different, right? And you don't want to put the wrong fuel in.
Machine at the gas station, and then you just pump your tank full, or you put however much money you want to put in there. Or you have the option of going in and telling the cashier that you want to put 20 on pump 1. And a lot of people were like, but how do you know when you do that how much you pay or how much gas you need? And I was like, you don't. You just guess.
You just
and
guess.
I think that the German method makes more sense, because it's true, you do guess in the United States. And this has happened to me, like from both ends of the spectrum, where you say, okay, I want to put 20 on pump 1, and then your car needs like $23. And it's like, it's
Right.
not full. Like, it bothers me when I put so much money in the like tank
Right.
and then it's only like this small from being full. I
Right.
don't know if I have an issue with this, but it really
No,
like
it would
irks
bother
me.
most
Or you
people.
have the other end of the spectrum where you put $20 in and your car only needed
Yeah.
$18.15. Then you gotta go into the gas
And then get a
station and get your
refund.
$1.85
Yeah.
change back.
Well,
And it
that's why
varies from
most
gas.
people, to be fair, don't do that anymore. I did it when I first started driving a long time ago, and now I never do that. I always pay at the pump. But she is right. You do have to pay first. So I put my card in, and what it does is it just takes like a big amount, like, as like a hold, and then it allows you to pump however much you want. So you want to get $2.27 of gas, you can do that. You want to get $80 worth of gas, you do that. You do whatever it takes. If you want to fill your tank, you go till it is full, right? Until that pump shuts off. And then it's done. It takes that exact amount off your card and you're good to go. I don't think there's really a problem with that. That's how most, like 95% of people do it here in the US now. So I think there's nothing wrong with that. I do think it's interesting how she said in the beginning, in Germany, you can actually just take and pump gas and get it right away, then you can pay afterwards. That is definitely not a thing here as far as I know. I was going to say, if they let you just pump the gas first, people would be pumping gas and taking off all day. They wouldn't be paying for it. Unfortunately, there's just so many stupid, bad people out there, and I'm amazed that other countries allow that. That is just like unthinkable here in the U.S.
In the United States to make this happen. Too many bad apples ruin the bunch. So the last and final point, you guys, I feel like is going to have the biggest impact on the United States, or would have the biggest impact on the United States, and it is plastic bags not being allowed in a lot of retail stores.
This, again, varies a lot. I hear this a lot about Europe. Even my wife told me that she was in France in a long time ago, like in 2007. She got to go on a trip there for a long time. She was there for like a month. And she said that back then they didn't allow plastic bags, that they were all using, reusable green bags or whatever you want to call them at the stores. And I thought that was really cool. Here, for example, remember I told you we live in two different places. Now in New Mexico, we're not allowed to use plastic bags. So we have to use reusable bags, similar to how I think she's going to say it is in Germany. So that's really interesting, right? Whereas here in Illinois, it's still, you can use plastic bags, you use the store's plastic bags and go on your way, or you can use reusable ones. We're so used to using reusable ones, and that's what we do now. So that's really cool. I think, I guess I'll pat myself on the back for that. I think that's a good idea. I feel like eventually in the U.S. it might reach that, because a lot of states do require you to use your own bags and not plastic bags already.
In Germany. This is something that is quite interesting to me, and an observation that I've made over the years living here is that when a new law, regulation, or rule is implemented in Germany, as long as it's not too burdensome, if it helps the general population and it's not too hard to implement in your daily life, people are pretty chill when it comes to just rolling with the punches and going with the flow. And this
that was a great video. I totally agree at the end there for points. I like the reusable bags anyway. They're definitely heavier duty. They're not going to, some plastic bags are so like worthless, right? They just break, and then you have waste and you like ruined the product you just bought. So yeah, I like the reusable bags. They're fun anyway. You get cool designs and colors and whatever. They're more personal. I think they're awesome. I certainly hope you enjoyed that one. I can't wait to hear your comments, your feedback on this. This was a really good video. Make sure to check her out with the link down in the description. And I can't wait to hear your suggestions for more interesting topics we can cover on Germany and elsewhere in Europe, how it compares to the U.S., what are some things I should learn about. I'm all ears. I really love learning and educating myself. It's very refreshing. Throw a like on there, of course, if you enjoyed yourself and learned something. Subscribe to be part of this amazing community. And with that being said, y'all, my name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. And until next time, I'll catch you later.